Hello, everybody. How are you? How are you guys doing? So, I'm here to give you all my thoughts on this whole Kyle Mitchell thing. Him and the woman that had his children, the mother of his child or children. And altogether, I also would like to say that they have, before the Club Shay Shay interview even went out, them two have been going at it, I'll say, in the media for a very, very long time. They have been, just being very nasty towards each other, spilling tea about their relationship, making everybody go, Like, it's been a lot of stuff that we probably did not ask to know that we, have been known because of them going at it. Okay, there was some sort of court battle to where I guess he won the court battle because he told the courts that, hey, he didn't feel as though that, he owed her any money. Allegedly she sold the house. I don't know, it's still foggy on who sold the house, but the house was sold for some money. And when the house was sold for some money, the courts did not feel as though that, hey, that he needed to pay her money because obligations, I guess, financial obligations was fulfilled when allegedly she sold the house. Allegedly, I don't know because she has a whole different story. Okay, and he is a celebrity, so it's being said on like that, hey, he did this and did that and had more money to where he paid this person to, proper representation. She didn't have proper representation, allegedly. I don't know. Like, when it comes into this entire situation, I do not I don't want to say care. I do not support either or. Okay, this is a situation where two narcissistic people are going at it. Okay, and the reason why I kind of look at him side-eyed is because this has been going on in the media for a very long time, to where he wasn't really talkative to the media. She was really dragging his name. And I always look at people sideways too that go on Tasha K's show. She went on Tasha K's show. It was all this weirdness about her walking in on Nick Cannon and her husband, and Nick Cannon was dancing with a cheerleading outfit on. And you gotta remember, this is back in the day where I want to say I want to say all that was a thing, you know what I'm saying? This is young Nick Cannon. This is not grown man Nick Cannon as far as I'm concerned. So he was very goofy. I don't know if it was a joking thing to where, because she said that he was trying to cheer, her ex-husband up because something had took place. Obviously, Nick Cannon did not know the severity of their situation. His friend was hurting, so he was trying to make his friend feel better, allegedly. So she was saying how he was doing that, and her ex-husband had cheated on him, allegedly, cheated on her, allegedly. There's all this crazy story about going around, he's saying something and you be and she say something, you're these are as far as I came to the conclusion that both of them are narcissistic. And I don't understand. I'm looking at him side-eye because he brought it to Club Shay Shay. Why? I don't know. I'm why would you take this to Club Shay Shay? Because you know how bad this woman have dragged you in the media, and everything, things are on the internet. A lot of the new age kids do not know that this had happened, that you are going into it with your child's mother. Why would you bring it to our attention? And then it's the crazy people that are oh, Monique is the worst example because she wasn't a mother to her children, and would big up this guy for not even being around for his children. I don't understand. I mean, he has a new wife, has new kids, but his ex-wife and his ex-kids, he treats them no different from Brian McKnight treating his kids. And because we like him and he was on Good Burger, we give him excuses. And the woman ain't no different, ain't no better, I would say, because the woman is in the woods with him. She definitely allegedly cheated on him. I think that the truth lies in the middle. Okay, I don't think that she went on and had all these kids and all the stuff that he was trying to make it, because she was she had sickle cell trait. She had the sickle cell trait, and I think some certain things with that, her health was not the best. Okay, so just physically, her just being somebody who health was not the best, and she was always in the hospital for that reason, and just going through just poor health. I would say that it is impossible for her to get pregnant that many times. Not saying women can't get pregnant. I'm saying that just because of her health was being poor, and she was at the hospital all the time, like, you know, for these different things. If she was pregnant, or I feel as though like it would be public record, we would be able to like understand that this, you know, I don't know. I don't buy into the story. I'm gonna just keep it a buck. I don't buy into the story, and he's just saying it. I wish he had more proof. Allegedly, when he caught her with this man, he brought a camcorder allegedly, and he was recording her. So apparently there's some sort of footage. He probably still has it or doesn't have. He might release it, child. We don't know, but he got, you know, the footage of her with this man. So it's not like a secret that he caught her cheating. Like this, they've been doing this in the media for a very long time. They're just bringing it to the forefront. He's trying to let the world know he's still beefing with his ex-wife. He's bringing up stuff about exorcism and all of that. Like, I just don't think we needed to know this. Like, right now, Nickelodeon kids are like being put back into the media. We're like looking at them. We're like combing through things like with a fine teeth comb, trying to figure out what's going on and all of this. And you bringing up this OT. Apparently he and this woman met during when he was doing Good Burger, child. So I just don't feel like, I feel like you should have put like the spotlight on what you got going on now. New business ventures, your children, mother now, how much you're so in love with her, how you met her. There's a bunch of different things you could have talked about. The fact that you chose to spew hate and disarray and negativity about this woman, it's just crazy to me, because you know she got that negativity for you too. Why would you bring something so toxic and put a spotlight on it? Because at this point, you're saying it becomes a mudslinging thing. You know what I'm saying? You going back and forth, and the people that don't know her story is completely taking your side. The people that only know her story wants to hear what you think. So everybody's like, we don't need to be the kids in this divorce. I don't want to be in the middle of this crap. Both of y'all are toxic. Both of y'all are narcissistic. Both of y'all have, and then you got kids that's like being taken advantage of in this situation, because they're like, in one breath, the mother saying this and the father saying this. They're being brought to believe things, negative things at that, about their other parent. We didn't need this. We did not need this. We did not care to have this. I don't know why he took it to the media this way. I don't know why he brought this back, and now she's out here, you know, on TikTok doing her stuff. Like, I just feel like, why would any of you guys still want to talk about this? Like, it's such a messy situation, and it's too much like going on to where you would have to really get into it to figure out who was wrong and who was right, which person did the most wrong, which person did the most right, who was sleeping with who cheated when who did this. Like, it's just it's one of those, I don't want to be the kids in this divorce. That's what it's giving. And I don't know why he brought this to the forefront. It seems like Club Shay Shay is all these narcissists trying to convince like everybody to why they should be like not taken as narcissistic people, and that they are different. And I just don't like, I feel like you gotta look like side-eyed. Okay, look from side-eyed. Because what the hell? Why are you talking about this woman, giving her, you know what I'm saying, room to have to, because now we want to know about her rebuttal. We want to know what she got to say. We want to know how she feels. We want to know like what's true and what's not true. You have left room for us to just side-eyed everything. I just feel like we didn't need this. Him doing this was like unasked for. I don't know why he did this, but that's all I got to say about that. I'm gonna show y'all a few clips if I can, and then we gonna call this a wrap. This whole situation it's messy. It's messy and it's stupid and it's dumb, and we didn't need this. But I don't like favor or trust one person either way. Both of them are liars, and both of them are manipulative, and both of them are full of ish. That's it. But yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think.
The baby that was aborted wasn't mine. You are immediately married within a lie already.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So the marriage was never the same after that, was it?
No, it was. This is at the beginning. You know what I'm saying? This is at the beginning. And so within that process,
she probably should have kept that to herself.
And well, you know, I'm glad she didn't. And so within that process, with that being known, it was just like, yo, with even in being, you know, the pregnancy, she almost died within the pregnancy. So that was a hard time, too.
Right.
It was a lot, you know, it was other times. She had gotten pregnant, other things, and it just got to a point.
She had gotten pregnant again?
Yeah.
While y'all together?
Yeah.
And it wasn't you?
Not with me.
Ah, come on,
No,
Cal.
It wasn't me. It wasn't
And you stuck around?
Yeah, I stuck around. But here's the thing. These were things that were being revealed. Everybody just started spitting up, throwing up. I'm gonna get deep with you real quick, okay? So it was like really like an exorcist type of moment, you know, with everybody. And I walk into this situation where I'm like, hey, yo, what is really going on? What's going on? And she said, come here. I said, okay. She said, you need to forgive some people. and you need to say that person's name out loud. And I know what you're going through within court and all the things you're going through. You need to forgive that person, and you need to say her name out loud. So I said, I said my ex's name out loud and forgave her, and let go of that anger and forgave her, right? She said also, too, she has done some things as far as, like, putting a hex on you, these different things she has done, spiritual-wise. And I'm like, what? I'm like, yo.
Like, you put the root on you?
I'm like, yo, what you talking about? Like, word, like, what? And she's like, yeah. I understood it, within what was going on. When she told me that.
My dad wasn't there for me for 10 years. So he wasn't there for 10 years in my life until I was, he didn't come back in my life until I was 15. And he was out of my life when I was the age of 5. So my dad wasn't financially or emotionally there for me for all of that time, actually. So I think for me personally, if I was a parent who was never in my child's life, I would try to make up for the moments that I wasn't. I would try to be as mothering and nurturing and everything that they need to be because I wasn't able to provide that to them at a young age. I would. But me and my father are completely different people. And maybe you might be on the same boat as my dad, where you just feel like, well, you can come back after all of that time, and I'm just supposed to naturally love you and naturally be there for you, even though my family, like me, myself, I was homeless. My family's still homeless. My mom still doesn't have a house because he sold the house from my mother that we were all living in. And I was young, and my mom spent years and years and years fighting for it. That's what I'm mad at him for. That's where I think he's an asshole. Also an asshole because I have tried to build like a relationship with him, and it's always me driving out to see him. Me driving from Orange County, from Pomona, so San Bernardino, driving to the valley, 2 to 3 hours, constantly for him, constantly to keep up that relationship. And my father wasn't able to do that all for me. He's only visited me, I think, 3 to 4 times in my 4 years of going to college. And the one day that he did come out to see me, it was actually that conversation that happened.
Kel, who is this person that was pregnant? Because it was not me. Like, who was this? And then other thing is, like, how do you remember all these pregnancies, but you don't remember your kids for, like, years? Like, I don't even know, 13, I don't know, 14. And then how do you remember all these pregnancies, but you don't remember Nick, in my cheerleading outfit, right? Like, how does your memory work exactly? Because you remember lots of things about me from a long time ago, and it's kind of odd, like, how your memory works. Like, you don't remember, I don't know, do you remember your daughter in a car accident? You remember your son losing his tooth? You remember taking your kids' money? Do you remember being completely physically, mentally abusive? Do you remember that you used to beat me and hit me and choke me and strangle me when I would come out the hospital because I have sickle beta thalassemia disease? Do you remember that? Do you remember that you were addicted to sex? Do you remember that? Do you remember me catching you with a man? Do you remember that? Do you remember you using the money that I created to pay for an entire woman's place? Do you remember that? Do you remember, taking the kids to Chicago and not telling me? Do you remember unilaterally filing for divorce and then moving back in with your mistress? Do you remember that? It's just, your memory is so strange. Like, do you remember that you didn't have any money for 5 years and the studio told you that, basically told everybody that you were dead, and so I had to write a pilot for you? Do you remember that I wanted to be a mathematician, but instead I decided to be in a group rap group with you? Do you remember that? Do you remember that when no one else was talking about you, I produced and wrote Kel Videos Live? Do you remember? Do you remember I also wrote and produced Ganked? Do you remember that? Do you remember that movie that you did with Cedric the Entertainer? You know, the one that I gave you? Do you remember that you took that and you sold it for $2,500? Do you remember that? Because your memory is so interesting to me, because I don't know why you didn't remember that I don't even like bodily fluids. So that I was actually relieved to find out when you were cheating. When I found out you were cheating, I was relieved. Did you remember that? Do you remember that I lost my virginity to you? Do you remember that? So your memory is interesting. So I think we should, you know what, let's figure out, you know, like, let's sit down, let's have a sit down and let's think about, you know, this memory. I have a few items that might, you know, jog your mind to help you with some of that memory. I don't know if this is like, you know, beginning Alzheimer's or something, but yeah, let's talk about it though, because I'm ready. I was doing acting at the time that I met Kel. I actually met him on the set of Good Burger. I did not watch Kenan and Kel, and I think really that honestly played a lot into the reason why our marriage did not work. I mean, there were a lot of reasons why our marriage did not work out. But the main reason, I mean, one of the reasons I think is because don't ever get into a marriage with anybody who is insecure, right? So sometimes when you're with a guy who is, I don't know, insecure about themselves. So Kel is of the smaller statute. He's not an elf, but he's a little bit taller than an elf or a leprechaun. And so he always, you know, had a little bit of insecurity about that. He didn't like his teeth. He didn't like his eyes. He had to wear these Coke bottle glasses. And he held a lot of that inside of him. Now, these are things that I did not know about him. But I will say that I thought I checked off all the boxes. I was super religious, did not have sex until I was married or planning to be married, which is why I decided to have sex with Kel. And I became pregnant the very first time we had sex, which I don't know why I didn't think was possible, but hey, I was 18. I just didn't think that's how that worked. But hey, very surprised when it did, because that is how it works. Anyway, so this man has gone on Shay Shay, Club Shay Shay, and is just on there lying. And I'm just like, I don't even know why he wants to talk about me at all. Like, I just wouldn't even mention my name if I were him, especially because he still owes me over $3 million. And it's like, dude, where's my money? And that's all I care about. But I don't know. I really don't know why he does this. I think maybe he's bored with his new family persona that he's in, because, you know, narcissists, they like what they like, but they also like everything else, and they might not tell you exactly what they like. And that was also, you know, very surprising for me as a young person, because I think, like, you know what, you get married, you just stay married for the rest of your life. So I figured that I had to accept Kel for who he was, because he was my husband. But along the way, I realized that there were just some things that I could not accept. And once I stopped accepting those things that he wanted me to accept, that's when the man got completely psycho and crazy, and this really began the narcissistic nightmare that I'm still like, I hope people are realizing that this is why this is still trauma, right? Because still, so many years ago, this man is lying about abortions. I mean, just the fact that you're even lying about abortions is crazy. That's like really crazy work. But then also to state that because of these fake abortions, or because of cheating, because of me cheating, this man said he wanted to kill himself. I mean, just think about how narcissistic that sounds. right? Another thing is, and I want to clarify this very much. In the interview, Kel is acting like, we did not want our son and it was a secret. It was not a secret. It was never a secret. We wanted our son. He's the one who wanted me to get pregnant with the son. We told everybody. Both of our parents knew as soon as we found out that we were pregnant. And so there was no sneaking around. It was not a shock. Every single person knew, and he made it a point to make everybody know. So like, that's even crazy to me, because when this was happening, as soon as I found out that I was pregnant, he was so excited, and his parents, everyone was so excited, and we were all excited. So this is so strange to me, this version of events that he somehow now has. I swear, every time he speaks, I'm just like, what? What? What is happening? Oh my gosh. So you know what? I think I'm gonna be like Tori Hart. I'm gonna go ahead and start my comedy, because if it were not my life, it's actually funny now. When I was going through it, it wasn't funny, but it's funny now because I just think to myself and like, this is probably why you don't get married at 18. This is probably why, it's not the best thing. But one thing about Kel that's so hilarious to me is that, his math. So, first things first, Kel was 18 years old when we were married and when our son was born. So we were married and our son was born, and Kel was 18 years old. So and all of a sudden now Kel seems to remember about how tragic it was for me in the hospital, and how tragic every single pregnancy was, because I almost died every single pregnancy. So it was a very traumatic time, but for so many years, that slipped Kel's memory. And I know he may think that the rest of the world, or other people think like how he thinks, but I just want to be as realistic as I possibly can. So the very first time that we had sex, under, I think it's 17, okay, and pregnant shortly after, okay, and had the baby shortly after, okay, and this was really shortly after Nick was in my cheerleading uniform on my bed. And I know that's crazy, right? I know that's like, what, I have realized that I have I don't know, Asperger's, autism, I don't know, but I know that nowadays people would think like, oh man, a guy's, and his girlfriend's cheerleading outfit, people would think like, why would you want to marry that guy, right? Why would you want to marry that guy? Because, he might be, I don't know, with the rainbows. I love rainbows, by the way. But, I'm saying he might like them more than me. Who knows, So, anywho. So, no, but that's not actually what I thought about. I just thought about the fact that Nick and his little balls were in my cheerleading outfit, and I was just thinking about how I was going to clean it. Could it be sanitary? Is that possible? And has he done this before? And have I known? And just everything else went through my mind, except for the fact that possibly they were in some sort of romantic relationship, because he used to like me to wear the cheerleading outfit. So I wasn't thinking like, that could have been happening, because he never told me that he was, bisexual. So anywho, but anyway, so yeah, so Kel's math isn't mathing. He is not talking about me. I am not the one that is pregnant. It's not even physically possible. The very first time that I had sex, I was impregnated with my son, who is here, and he's alive and well, and there could not have been an abortion in between any of that, because obviously that's not how it works, right? So yeah, so we were 18, when our first child was born. So I don't know what he's talking about. And then 19, nobody was born. But that's why I'm saying that, you know, I really do think that sometimes when people have mental issues and they have, well, I don't even know if it's a mental issue, really. I just think that Kel is such a bitch that he thinks that this is how, like, he stays famous, is to just act like you know, like a poor guy with my wife cheating on me. Like, it makes the stuff that he did to myself and our children more tolerable, because I'm such a terrible whore, slutty woman who sleeps around. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? It's really interesting to me, because he lies about stuff that's just ridiculous. Very, very ridiculous. And all of this abortions and all this stuff. And the reason why he says all of these things, I think, are because he's a narcissist. And I have done several videos about how narcissists abuse you at your weakest moments. And so one thing that I had to do, and I'm also a mathematician, so I'm always paying attention to patterns, and I had made a journal. In my journal, I realized that, oh my gosh, that Kel physically abuses me anytime I come out of the hospital, because that's when I'm at my weakest. And so I think that what Kel is trying to do, he's trying to recreate the story to make there be a reason other than the fact that I'm really sick and I have a you know, critical disease, and so I'm forced to go to the hospital a lot. And so he doesn't want anybody to feel sorry for me with all the medical records. So instead, he's trying to equate me going to the hospital with abortions, which is, you know, unfortunately what these kinds of narcissists do. And the older that they get, obviously the better that they get, because I'm sure nobody would even think to put those two together. But I always would have to think about what Kel was thinking, because this is just what happens when you're in these kinds of relationships that are abusive, because you're constantly trying to figure out, like, how do they get to these crazy ideas in their head. And so you're constantly just trying to figure them out. I don't know if that was just me. I was constantly trying to figure this man out for the majority of our relationship. So, well, that's about the abortions. I guess I'll have to do some more videos. So before Kel Mitchell pays some publicists some money to spin this story differently, let me go ahead and explain to you from the first wife of your husband, Kel Mitchell. I don't think of you, like, I don't even think of you at all. And I'm sure your husband has told you differently, because that's your husband. We were married for 10 years, from 1999 till 2010. And you guys were dating, and you are definitely very well aware of this. But none of that actually mattered to me, because how, I guess, you thought, or maybe he led you on to believe that there was an issue between you and I, which there wasn't. I actually appreciated you, because he finally had somebody else to control and to puppeteer. And so I was actually appreciative. And I was more appreciative that you got the personality that he took from me. You got the person that he is not. And I know, and I get it, because you believe that he is. So that's who he is to you. And since I know his personality well, it's not shocking for me to think that you believe every single word that he said. So I get it. But we are not the same. While my ex was cheating and doing all these other things, I was raising 2 kids by myself, being a married single mom, creating videos, creating movies for Kel Mitchell. And he was not appreciative of anything that myself, my family did for him during this time where he had nothing. So while you may believe that I'm worried about you and somehow are thinking about you, I'm not. I'm thinking about the kids. I'm thinking about the time that I lost because of your husband. And although Kel may have thought that by going to God, he got forgiveness of all of the situations and things that he caused, but unfortunately, that's not how the universe works. There is always an equal and opposite reaction to every action. Yeah, I don't think of you. I think of them. I think of the childhood and the things that they should have had that their own parent took from them. That's who I think about. So yeah, I don't think about you, but you should think about the fact that all of those royalties and all of that money that he took from us, you were using. And more importantly, you need to pray to God that you never get the version of Kel Mitchell that he was with me. Before anyone goes into, oh, you should heal, you should do this, you should not worry about it, etc., etc. Let me explain to you a little bit how trauma works. A person can't heal while the trauma is still enduring. And this trauma is continuing until I am completely made whole for everything he caused.
Kel Mitchell's daughter, Allure, is blasting him for being an absentee father. Allure posted pictures with her dad on TikTok. This one says, quote, "I'm not a normal dad, I don't work a 9 to 5. In the next picture, she writes, "So you're saying you don't have time for me?" And this one says, "Allure, I'm an actor." Along with the picture, she shared a very lengthy caption, where she describes her father as being absent while growing up and only supporting her financially, not emotionally. You can pause to read the whole caption, but she says, "My father is the type of man to fake as if he's in my life, but he's not. He was there financially. What I mean by that is that he only paid for what in my eyes looked good on paper. And that now she lives independent without any help from her parents, because she wanted to prove to her father that his money is not what she needed." She says, "A father should be there emotionally, a father should be there for their daughters and me." She also describes being homeless at one point, and her father didn't actually open up his home to her. She says that he instead got her a dorm on campus during that time. And while she appreciated it, she just wanted her father, she didn't want him to pay for a dorm. She says, "My father refuses to get me medical insurance of any sort out of fear my mother would use it. I don't live with my mother, and so how would my mother get access to that?" She claims that he owes her mother so much, and in the caption she continues to explain that the reason she wants to study law is because she watched her mom do so much research about law to help keep a house over their head. In the end, she lost, and they were without a home. She says, "Yet Kel Mitchell, my father, gets to live in a 5-bedroom house in the valley. Yet in his eyes, I'm ungrateful. I never cared about your money. I just needed my dad."
You know what's really funny to me is that I barely look like I had anything to do with any of this, even though I almost died having them and they grew inside of my body. But I actually only see myself because I think they look identical to me. So, you know, it's interesting, and I wish I was this person that he thought I was or said that I was. I really wish I was that person, because I would have done anything to not have this man as the sperm donor for my children. Because sometimes I think, like, man, what if his craziness is like a genetic? Thank God. I just wonder that sometimes, because he is ridiculous in every single way, shape, and form. And thank God my daughter looks exactly like me, not
court, right? And I'm fighting to see my children.
Oh my gosh, I put a hex on him. This man is ridiculous. But you're a man of God, but you believe in hexes? Come on now. Anyway, it is very interesting, and yeah, I don't even do any sort of anything like that. Kel is very familiar with hexes, which I'm sure that's what he tried to do to me, and I'm sure he's angry that it didn't work and that I don't even care about whatever witchery he tries to do, because it does not work. And everything that he's saying, all of his lies, they always come out. The truth always comes out, and he should just be accountable for the things that he did, and he should just be honest. And, you know, if he really wants to be a godly man, he should just do the right thing and pay me back the money that you owe me and make amends and tell the truth. Like, now's the time. This is just one of several lawsuits that were filed and then are currently in court. So I'm thinking that Kel's trying to do some kind of damage control, because he's definitely going to lose these lawsuits. So, you know, and he's coming out with a new film. But hey, here's some reading.